Jack makes an impassioned pitch to Victor, and Kane kicks Michael to the curb. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. At the ranch, Nikki rises to meet Victor and says, "It's late." He explains that he gave Kane an ultimatum. Either he does what he wants him to do, or he destroys him. Nikki worries about the stress this is causing her husband. Victor thinks this fight will go the distance. He admits that Kane is more unpredictable than he thought. Does Kane see through Michael? On the Kane train, he's agitated with Michael not being more careful. His attorney wants more details on Victor's ultimatum. Kane has it handled. He questions if Michael will be having his back or looking out for Victor. Michael tries to reassure him, but wants to know the details of his role and Kane's ultimate goal. Talk turns to Billy. Michael's certain he can figure out how to control him. He continues fishing for more details of Ashby's plan. Kane keeps changing the subject, asking if the attorney sees him as a hero or a villain. That goes nowhere, so Kane asks him about Phyllis. Michael says she's one of a kind. He'll be disappointed if Ashby takes advantage of her. Kane won't use anyone. Michael points out that people believe he's come home to wage destruction. Kane pointedly asks, "What's the real reason for you accepting this job?" Michael warns if he goes after the people he cares about, he'll do whatever he can to dissuade him or stop him. Kane looks smirky. Will Billy win Sally over? In the jazz lounge, Billy makes a toast to Sally and rambles about convincing her he's putting her first. Sally warns, "If you turn away from me like that again." Billy insists he no longer has to try to take down Kane and Victor because he's already won. He'll convince Jack to fund Abbott Communications again and she'll run it. He'll be her number 2. Sally admits she still feels off balance, so he helpfully explains he only has room for one obsession. That's her. Sally, wisely, remains unconvinced. Billy insists he's walked away from that table and pesters her about moving in. She wants to take things slow. When they head up to Sally's suite to make love, Billy continues with his campaign to get her to move in with him. Will Diane talk Jack down? At the Abbott mansion, Jack and Diane discuss Kyle going off to hold an emergency meeting at Jabot. Diane's more interested in Jack's proposal to work with his enemy, which gravely concerns her. Jack realizes it gives Victor the chance to stick a knife in his back, but also to keep a closer eye on him. Jack's sure Victor's just as worried about Kane as he is, but Diane questions why he'd agree to this. Jack will appeal to his colossal ego. After a story about the scorpion and the frog, Jack decides he's going to head over the ranch right now. Can Jack persuade Victor? At the ranch, Nikki thinks Kane may be all talk. If he has the AI program, why hasn't he used it yet? She's sure this is all a performance for Lily's benefit. Victor suspects that this has to do with his relationship with Jill and his father as well. Victor decides that Kane is underestimating something one does at their own peril. As he muses about whether Jill could be the one to put Kane in his place, he gets a call about an unexpected guest. Victor lets Jack into the house and asks, "What's this all about?" Jack declares it's time to lay down their swords. Victor's not inclined to hear him out, but Jack persists. He knows any truce will be short-lived, but they have a common enemy. They should join forces long enough to deal with Kane, who could wipe them all out. The verbal sparring begins, and Victor suggests that he doesn't have to worry about Kane coming after him. Jack warns it's a mistake to trust Kane Ashby. Victor leans forward. "It's a mistake to trust you, Jack Abbott." Jack tells him he knows how to beat Kane at his own game. What happens in the final scenes? On the Kane train, Michael guesses Kane is doing all of this to impress Lily. Kane, irked, won't discuss his motives with him or listen to the attorney's advice. He needs allies, not a life coach. "I don't think this is going to work out," Ashby declares. He knows what he's doing, what he wants, and he's going to accomplish everything he sets out to do. Michael's not the man he thought he was. He needs to walk away and not look back. "It's time to cut my losses," says Kane. He lets Michael know he respects him as a lawyer and as a man. Michael warns he'll do his damnedest to stop him from the outside. Kane would expect nothing less. In Sally's suite, after sex, Billy tells her he's so glad they're back on the same page. She says nothing. At the ranch, Nikki cast a vote for working together. Victor questions if Kane even has the software. Jack argues they have no choice but to treat this as a legit threat. He realizes Victor has no love in his heart for him. Let's leave our hearts out of this. If they work together, Kane doesn't stand a chance. Victor begrudgingly asks if he has a plan. Jack believes Kane's motives are all tied to Jill. They have to bring her in on this. They'll sabotage Kane's empire from the inside. Seen its fair share of dramatic showdowns, but the air on this particular evening carried a tension that even seasoned rivals could feel in their bones. The boardroom at Newman Enterprises glowed under dimmed lights, its long mahogany table glistening like a battlefield ready for warriors. And tonight, Jack Abbott was the unlikely knight preparing to walk into the lion's den. Jack had rehearsed his words for days, yet nothing about this felt like business. It was personal. Victor Newman had spent decades dismantling Jack's dreams brick by brick, and still, here Jack was, ready to make an impassioned pitch not for himself, but for the future of Jabot, his family's legacy. Victor, seated at the head of the table like a king on his throne, arched a brow as Jack entered. "You've got 10 minutes, Abbott," Victor said, his gravelly voice holding both challenge and amusement. Jack didn't flinch. "I don't need 10. Just listen." He laid out the stakes. The shifting cosmetics market, the ruthless competition, and the undeniable fact that even Jabot and Newman had enemies powerful enough to crush them if they didn't adapt. Jack's tone shifted from firm to fiery, his blue eyes gleaming with conviction. "Victor," Jack said, leaning forward, "for once in our lives, we have a chance to do something together. Not to destroy each other, but to build. You and I side by side. We can protect what matters to both of us, our families, our legacies. This isn't about Abbott versus Newman. This is about survival. And I'm willing to put my pride aside if you are." The room grew silent. Even the hum of the air conditioning seemed to fade. For the first time in years, Victor saw not his enemy, but a man willing to lay down his sword. It was almost enough to sway him. Almost. Victor leaned back, steepling his fingers. "You always were a smooth talker, Jack. But how do I know this isn't another Abbott scheme?" Jack exhaled slowly. "Because I've got nothing left to lose except Jabot. And believe it or not, Victor, I still believe in fighting for something bigger than myself." Before Victor could respond, the heavy glass doors swung open. Kane Ashby stormed in, dragging behind him the fallout of another Genoa City power struggle. His expression was stone cold, his accent sharper than ever. And right behind him was Michael Baldwin, his face tight with frustration. "Jack," Kane snapped, "you might want to hold off on your peace treaty with Victor. Because I'm about to kick someone to the curb, and it changes everything." Michael stiffened. "Kane, don't do this here." But Kane was past negotiation. For weeks, Michael had been maneuvering himself into Kane's orbit, whispering legal strategies, pretending to be an ally in business. But Kane had caught wind of Michael's secret meetings with Jill, with Billy, and, most damningly, with someone outside Genoa City who had no business knowing Chancellor Winter's inner workings. "You think I wouldn't find out?" Kane's voice cut like glass. "You've been playing both sides, Michael. Feeding me just enough truth to earn my trust, while stabbing me in the back. That might work with someone else, but not me." Jack looked between them, realizing that this eruption could either sink his delicate proposal or hand him leverage. Victor's eyes glittered, intrigued. Michael's calm facade cracked. "Kane, you're making a mistake. Everything I did was to protect you." "Protect me?" Kane barked. "You nearly cost me the company. You put my family's name on the line. I don't care if you're Genoa City's slickest attorney, you're done. You're out. Effective immediately." The words hung heavy, final. Michael's jaw clenched, his pride wounded more than anything else. "You'll regret this," he warned, but Kane had already turned his back. Jack seized the moment. "Victor, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The vultures are circling. If Kane can't trust his closest advisor, if I can't hold Jabot without constant sabotage, then what chance do we stand divided? It's time we stop letting betrayal and ego be the language of this town. Let's set a new course." Victor, ever the chess player, allowed himself a rare pause. He watched Michael storm out, defeated. He watched Kane plant himself firmly on Jack's side of the table, unyielding. And for once, Victor Newman, the man who never trusted anyone, found himself weighing the possibility that Jack Abbott might actually be right. "You've surprised me tonight, Jack," Victor finally said, his voice low and deliberate. "And I don't say that often." Jack's shoulders loosened, though he knew this was only the beginning. Victor Newman never gave an inch unless he saw a mile to be gained. But maybe, just maybe, this was the mile Jack needed. Kane crossed his arms, still seething. "If this alliance happens, I want in. Chancellor Winters won't survive the kind of betrayal Michael just pulled without reinforcements. If you two are serious about uniting, then I'm throwing my hat in too. But it's all or nothing. We fight together, or we go down separately." The three men stood in a tense triangle of ambition, grudges, and necessity. It was unthinkable just a year ago. Jack Abbott, Victor Newman, and Kane Ashby, even considering standing on the same side. And yet here they were, with the echoes of Michael's betrayal still ringing in the air. Victor's lips curved into a small, calculating smile. "You know, gentlemen, maybe it's time Genoa City saw what happens when its strongest stop tearing each other apart." For once, Jack didn't hear a threat. He heard the first glimmer of something that sounded like hope. And somewhere down the hall, Michael Baldwin fumed, already plotting his next move. Because if Kane thought he was finished with him, he was sorely mistaken.